All right, can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Hold on. Let me pop out the chat. Let me see if the chat is popped out over here. Let me see if this. All right, you can hear me. All right, cool. Let me pop up the chat so that I can make sure that you guys see it on here. Sorry, guys. I mean, technically, when something's free on YouTube, it's technically open for based on the rules of what's that called? Commentary. I forget the name of the law when you're talking about a piece of content that's free. Fair use. There we go. Becomes part of fair use. But I guess not. I mean, you could abuse that like as much as you want. Like companies could not really know the rules and just be like, "Hey, listen, this is on our YouTube channel. We don't want you to show it," and it's whatever. So, all right, cool. From what we saw, my apologies, but from what we saw, and let me just make sure that these comments pop up too on here. Let's see. Comments on YouTube. Hold on. Yo, what's going on, guys? What's going on? We back? Yeah, we back. I'm just trying to get this to come back up so that you guys... Hold on one second. There we go. All right. You went lost like your shirt there, Fanatico. All right, so AK Rivera. It's good to see you in here, by the way, brother. Hold on, let me pull this up here. This is the one that's live streamed 30 minutes ago. Nope, this is not the one that's live. Gotta get the one that's live right now. All right, here we go. All right, guys, cool. Anyways, you guys saw the gist of it, right? Whatever. You guys saw the gist of it. Now I know. I honestly thought that, free, no audio, and commentary, and highlight, not even the full video, we was gonna be able to talk about it, but apparently not. But anyways, good tactics by Canelo, good tactics by Ryder, but Canelo couldn't get him out of there. My only question is that simply from Canelo getting too old, or is that because of John Ryder's fortitude? Now, here's the number one thing that everyone cares about. We want Canelo versus Benavidez. It's perfectly set up. We want Canelo versus Benavidez. We don't want to see Canelo versus Bivol. We just don't want to see it. There was nothing in that fight that made us believe that we needed to see the rematch. The same way we did not need to see Canelo versus Gennady Golovkin 3. We just didn't need to see that. Granted, the first fight was a draw, but it was so, like, if you didn't do it right away for the third fight, it took too long. We ain't even care about it no more. You know what I'm saying? We didn't care about it. So what we want is oh yeah, I'm definitely watching that after the stream, by the way. I'm definitely watching that Knicks game after the stream. But what I was gonna say is that what we truly want is Benavidez versus Canelo, and to me, that's going to tell me everything I need to know, because Benavidez is a beast in there. He's a beast, and by a beast I mean this dude is like he loves pain. That's the vibe I get from Benavidez. He's so squared up because he does not care. He's gonna hit you with these crazy fast combinations, these hard hitting punches, and he's gonna push and push and push. A fight between Benavidez versus Canelo would be absolutely phenomenal. It would be absolutely phenomenal. And I can't wait to see it. And the world wants to see that fight. And now we're talking about, you're not the only head honcho anymore, Canelo. You're not the guy. Like, there's debates now. Are you the face of boxing, or is Tank the face of boxing? Now, granted, Canelo didn't have a dance partner necessarily in this fight. Although Ryder came to fight, yes. But in terms of attraction, in terms of being a good attraction, he didn't really have a dance partner in this fight. You need a dance partner. And I think that Canelo can prove, if he's the face of boxing, he could do that with Benavidez. Now, I don't know if that's going to do more pay-per-view numbers, more than 1.2 million pay-per-view buys that Tank versus Ryan Garcia did. And it might not, because Ryan carries a lot of social media hype behind him. Tank has a good amount of social media hype behind him. So I don't know if this does that. But if Canelo cracks anywhere around 500K pay-per-view buys, right, which is the estimate that increases their pay-per-view revenue split, right? So let me see if I pull it up here. Where's it at? We got Canelo. Okay, cool. So here is let's look at this. Hopefully MMA Mania doesn't hit me with anything for doing this, but I doubt it. I mean, this is just a website, right? So if you look at this here, I don't know if you guys could see. You probably could see it. Yeah, I think it's big enough. Let me see here. Hold on 1 second. Let's see. Twitter. Go ahead and expand this. Okay, you guys can see it, right? So on here, they have guaranteed purse is 10 million, and guaranteed purse for John Ryder is 1 million. With pay-per-view shares is 65%, 35%, right? So total salaries based on pay-per-view estimate. If pay-per-view reaches 500,000 buys, Canelo would leave with 33 million, and John Ryder would leave with 3.3 million. If they hit if pay-per-view reaches 500K, Canelo 33. If pay-per-view sales hike to 500K, I guess this is the same thing being said differently. But either way, that means that 500K is a thing that they're thinking about, right? If Canelo somehow hits 500K, that will be impressive to me. I don't know about you guys, but I actually will be impressed if Canelo can hit 500K off of this fight with John Ryder. Because if he hits 500K off of this fight with John Ryder, I'm almost guaranteed to think that he would hit close to 1 million if he fights Benavidez. If he hits this number, we don't know if he's going to hit this number. They're talking about this number in a specific way, like that's a number that they're targeting. Maybe pre-sales and stuff. Maybe they got a thought that maybe this could hit 500K buys. But if it does hit this number, I'm going to venture a guess that he would do very well against Benavidez. Now, I don't know if it's going to get past Tank versus Ryan, but I do think that he would do very well against Benavidez. And it's been proven, Caleb Plant is not somebody that's super mega popular on social media, but Canelo was able to do north of 800,000 buys with Caleb Plant. So now the conversation is changing because Canelo is not the only person. You know what I'm saying? He's not the only person that's doing these big buys. He's not the only person doing these big buys, and that's an important fact. He's not the only person doing these big buys, and he wants to hold on to the mantle, because once you lose the mantle as the face of boxing, there's a lot of things that start to cascade off of that, right? People want to do deals with Tank. People want to do endorsements with Tank as opposed to doing it with Canelo, and things start to kind of roll down a hill in a bad direction for Canelo as time goes on. So he might want to show up Tank, and the best way to show up Tank is to go on to on September and fight somebody like a Benavidez when he knows that would do a lot of numbers. Now, I'm not too confident that he is going to fight Benavidez. And the reason that I'm not too confident that he's going to do that is because he's made no mention of Benavidez. He keeps talking about this Bivol fight. He keeps talking about him wanting to fight Bivol, him wanting to fight Bivol, him wanting to fight Bivol. And when they asked him about Benavidez, he did not mention Benavidez's name. And those things are telling. When somebody truly wants to fight somebody, they say their names. Even if you say the name to them, they'll say the name again back to you. For example, if when they were like, Shakur, do you want to fight Devin Haney? He's about to fight Lomachenko. That's a big fight for you. Is that something? And he's like, yeah, of course I want to fight Devin. And I've always gotten the best of Devin in sparring. Let's go ahead and do this fight. That's a tell that he wants to fight him. Or if somebody says, hey, what's next for you? And then Canelo's just like, oh, Bivol. And then the person has to say, hey, listen, but what about Benavidez? Do you want to fight Benavidez? And then still he says something to the effect of, listen, we're going to fight whoever. We fight whoever. We don't care, but I want Bivol. That's me telling me that that's not a thing that's in Canelo's mind for September. It's not in Canelo's mind for September. So I don't understand what the strategy is to ensure that he is the face of boxing over Tank when Tank got these huge numbers. He got these super numbers. So I don't understand what the Canelo strategy is moving forward. That's the thing that's confusing me. Canelo needs to fight Benavidez if he wants to recapture that whole face of boxing and kind of like shut the whole thing down. It could also be dangerous too if he fights Benavidez and doesn't hit 1 million pay-per-view buys. Then it's like, whoa, Tank is kind of the face of boxing. And then if Tank fights somebody like Teofimo Lopez and hits 1 million pay-per-view buys with Teofimo Lopez, then that's a big like danger zone moment for Canelo and his team in terms of you're just gonna be second. You're gonna be second. That's just what's gonna happen. If he doesn't fight Benavidez and he fights Bivol and they do something like 600,000 pay-per-view buys or whatever it is, 500,000, they might do less, 400, who knows? And then Tank fights Teofimo Lopez because Teofimo Lopez's contract is up. He's probably going to go fight Tank after this Josh Taylor fight, whatever. And he fights Tank. That's a big fight for Tank, right? If that does 1 million, it's like say goodnight. Tank is the face of boxing without question. Now you could debate it. If he does 1 million with Teofimo Lopez, he's the face of boxing without question. And if Canelo doesn't crack 1 million with Bivol, now you got 2 fights this year, none of which cracked 1 million. Tank cracked 1 million with 2 fights. Like, what's going on? What's going on? And I'm telling you, that you normally have to get over that hump. When you get all those buys, that means the casual market came to see you and he showed up. He knocked them out and everything. And it was really spectacular. It was a fun fight to watch. He knocked them down, all this stuff. So the fans might come back to see you. You might connect it to that casual fan base, the same way Mayweather connected to that casual fan base after he beat Oscar De La Hoya, same way Manny Pacquiao connected to that casual fan base after he beat De La Hoya. So the Tank might be there, and we don't know how there he is until his next fight. If he fights Teofimo Lopez, then we might see something. We might see a changing of the guard. We might see a true new face of boxing, and they can't even say, hey, look, this is the Ryan Garcia stuff. Because he could just easily be like, look, bro, I did it with Ryan. I did it with Teofimo. I'm the face now. So I think that Canelo's only hope to fend him off is to fight Benavidez. That's just my personal opinion. But what do you guys think? I did a whole breakdown of that. That's what's in my head. Right now regarding that stuff. Let's see what you guys are saying in the comment section, and actually let's also move over to here. But let's see what you guys are saying in the comment section. GGG won the first fight in a lot of people's eyes. Yes, he did. Mine included, but yeah, the third fight was unnecessary. Exactly. Because the second fight, he lost, right? He lost. It was still kind of close, but that one you could really lean it towards Canelo. So we could say that he lost that second fight. Let's see here. But yeah, it felt unnecessary, not just because Canelo won it and the first was a draw or whatever, even though it was technically, or not technically. Technically, it was a draw, but to a lot of people, they thought GGG won. I also thought Gennady Golovkin won, but it was so much time between the fights, right? The time between the fights also lended to the notion of it being kind of like, we're over this already, right? Gennady Golovkin a little old already. We don't care. We don't care. Lil Emmanuel Reacts, what's going on, brother? What's up, man? What's up? Mr. Bone Boxing, that's the battle at 75. We need facts. What y'all talking about? Arter better be Evan Bivol. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what we need. We want that too for Undisputed. Let's do it, man. Let's do it. That would be amazing. There's a lot of good fights that could be made, man. A lot of good fights. Benavidez is like a bigger, younger version of 154 Canelo, LOL, where he threw endless long combos all fight. If they fight, it's like fighting a younger, bigger version of yourself, a must-see. Yeah, man. I mean, there's some differences, obviously. Benavidez is very, very squared up, even more squared up than Canelo. But he throws these really fast combinations. I think, like, faster than much faster than Canelo. He throws these super lightning fast combinations, and they hurt. But he also has like this mean streak to him where he kind of enjoys hurting you, and that's dangerous. Somebody like that is very, very dangerous. And I think that Benavidez is that type of guy. He wants to take you out. He wants to hurt you. He wants to do all these things. He might respect you after, but in the fight, there's this like almost like a demon is inside of him. Though, if you ever see him fight and see his facial expressions and his mannerisms, and when he hurts somebody, how like happy he gets. It's a very like kind of like he's like this monster kind of a person. So I think it will be an interesting fight. It will be explosive, of course, because both of them come forward. They're both come forward fighters. I think this will be a really interesting fight. They're both Mexican fighters. So I think that this will be, and it's also like kind of like a Mexican American versus a Mexican fighter kind of clash. Almost like De La Hoya versus Julio Cesar Chavez. When they fought, it was that Mexican-American versus Mexican clash. Who's the better fighter or whatever. And I think that this will kind of have that kind of story behind it. And they could sell it really well. Of course, it's going to be on September. Around September 14th, which is like a holiday for Mexicans. So they love to sit down and watch boxing, and they'll sit down and watch this 100%. So I think that this is definitely something that they could leverage really well to push the narrative that Canelo is the face of boxing. I can see Benavidez going to a decision and outworking Canelo to a close win. Canelo really doesn't throw too many punches, especially nowadays. Canelo in the early mid 2010s threw way more than now. I mean, I feel like he's become more efficient with his punches. Sometimes when you become more efficient with your punches, where you know how to set them up, you know how to land them, you know like what works, what doesn't, and you're very smart with your distance and stuff, and you get better with controlling range and everything like that, you start to throw less. You actually start to throw less punches because the punches that you're throwing matter a lot. You can conserve more energy. You could be a little bit more accurate. So I think that he simply just feels more confident in his punch selection now than he did back then. Back then, when you just trying to land, you're throwing a lot of different combinations. You're young, you got a lot of energy, you want to throw punches and stuff. But I think once you become more experienced, you actually tend to throw less, not so much because you're older, but because you kind of get a grasp of where you should throw your punches, where to land your punches, how to put them together, and you become more judicious. You become more judicious with your punches. I think Canelo is more judicious now with his punches. Let's see. That's why I believe Benavidez can 100% win, not by stoppage, but on points. It's going to be hard to stop Canelo that's never been stopped, never been dropped, only been rocked once, and all of that rhymed. I did not plan that. It was just, it's just perfectly rolled off the tongue. Canelo versus Benavidez can be as successful as Tank versus Ryan. Hopefully it's on Showtime. Maybe. It's maybe. Tank versus Ryan was somewhat of a lightning in a bottle situation, with Ryan having social media and Tank having a good amount of social media. Tank is also an internet sensation. Maybe not the way Ryan is, but he is an internet sensation where people know him. My friends and family know him, and my friends and family don't know nothing about boxing. So for them to know him, it's a very, it gives me an understanding that he's somewhere in like the normal like atmosphere of the casual market. So I think this was like a lightning in a bottle thing. I don't think Benavidez lies in any of that in any of that like area, right? I think he's known enough that he'll get a lot of buys, and maybe some of the diehard fans will bleed some of that information over to some of the casual fans, and maybe that can cause casual fans to come to watch the fight. But it's gonna be tough. I personally, at this point, I can't say for sure because it's still far away. I need to see the hype. I need to see the buzz when they start to announce it. But I personally don't think it will do as good as Ryan versus Tank. There's something inside of me that tells me that it won't. But I could be wrong. And I would rather, before I say a prediction on what I think pay-per-view buys will be, I would want to see the build up to it. I want to see the build up to it to see like how is everyone reacting? What are my friends doing? What are my family doing? Because those are sample sizes to me. Those are sample sizes. If my friends come to me and say, yo, Canelo's fighting Benavidez, and they say Benavidez in a way where it's like they know they pronounce his name correctly, they know who he is, then I'm like, okay, there's something here, right? So I do use my friends and family as a sample size, but I also use the buzz and the hype. What news outlets are picking them up? Where are they being talked about on ESPN regularly? Are they being talked about in different channels that normally don't talk about it, right? Are they on like Good Morning America talking about it? If I start seeing little things like this, it makes me believe that there's a big hype behind it, because they won't do anything unless ratings are telling them to do something. And then that lends to like a snowball effect. So there's a lot of things that come with predicting pay-per-view numbers. And at this moment, if you was to just tell me, yo, Edward, say something right now, though, about it. Like, do you know? Do you not know? I don't think it will. I think it will definitely get pretty close, but I don't think it will surpass 1.2 million. But that's just my guess as of right now. And again, I have to see more to make a better prediction. I would be surprised if it hit 550 pay-per-view against Ryder, but a fight with David in September would definitely surpass 500K. Yes. That I do believe. And the little thing that lets me think that would happen is he did 800,000 with Caleb Plant. So if he was able to do 800,000 with Caleb Plant not that well known, like crazy. He was able to do that with Caleb Plant. With Benavidez, I think he definitely can do a good number. I think he could definitely do a good number. And you have the added element of him being Mexican American and Canelo being Mexican, born in Mexico. I think that adds another spice to it. Yeah, I think it 100% does. I think it easily does 500,000. I think it's going to do north of 500,000. But where will it land? That's the big question. That's the big question to me. Where is it actually going to land? Hope Canelo doesn't vacate, because he won't be to escape that fight unless he does. Because he won't be to escape that fight unless he does. What do you mean by that? Vacate to fight Benavidez? He doesn't have to. Vacate to fight Benavidez. Benavidez won't stop Canelo, but he'll outwork him. Yeah. Canelo from fights such as the Cotto, Trout, Lara, and Mosley fights was way more active and threw way more combinations. Yeah. But I've explained why sometimes they kind of lower their punch output. Ryan and Tank are doing big buys, and so is Jake Paul. Yeah, I think Jake did 700 and something thousand with Tommy Fury, which is really good, actually. It's really, really good for Jake Paul to pull numbers like that on a boxing pay-per-view. Pretty good on him. That is true. That's what they say about Tank. After all, he doesn't throw as much as other lightweights, but he's efficient and accurate as F. Yes, he is. Because he's very, he knows what punch he wants to throw. He knows how to throw it. He knows how to land it. and he understands where he is within distance and stuff like that. So it's once you become super good at doing that, you become much more judicious. You don't want to throw punches for no reason. Every punch has an intent behind it, has a design behind it. And I think that Canelo's at that point where he does that as well. Let's see. Canelo's way more known than David, while Ryan and Tank are equally famous, give or take. Exactly. And that's going to be a big deal come those numbers when they're putting it together or when people are trying to buy the pay-per-view. So we'll have to wait and see. Canelo and Benavidez are very well known in the Latino community. Oh, yeah, 100%. That I know for a fact that they are well known. But Tank and Ryan are well known overall, right? It's not just Latino community, it's just an overall thing. They were well known, and that helped that 1.2 million pay-per-view buys to come to fruition because they're well known across the board. It really is crazy that he did 800K buys on Showtime alone with Plant at $80 too. Yeah, that was absolutely phenomenal. When he did that, it was like, whoa, like you could still do these kind of numbers because remember, boxing was like kind of taking a little bit of a back seat, and there was like a lot of people doing, pirating boxing, so numbers were not as high as they were before. So for him to do 800,000 was crazy, and for Tank and Ryan to do 1.2 million, it's like boxing is back. We're back to the Floyd Mayweather days and Oscar De La Hoya days when we were doing these kind of numbers. So I'm actually super happy. And if we could get more million pay-per-view buys, it'll be amazing. If Canelo fights Benavidez and they do above 1 million, boxing is essentially back. Like boxing is back. Like there is a dedicated audience that is willing to get us over these 1 million pay-per-view buy humps, even in the ever-increasing pirating age. There's like a collective of people that can get us over 1 million something pay-per-view buys. I think that means to me that boxing is back because amongst those millions of people that are buying, or million homes that are buying, there's also people that aren't buying it, and who knows how many people are those, and they're watching it, right? And they might become buyers later on because I'm sure the experience of pirating is not as good as the experience of actually watching it, on pay-per-view legitimately, because it's never as good as watching it legitimately. There's always issues and stuff like that. So I'm sure that there's going to be people that transition from that to watching it normally. Guys, even if all right, cool. I see the $4.99. Yeah, I guess you're not saying anything crazy, so that's fine. Been playing Undisputed on Steam Deck and absolutely love it. All right, brother. Thank you. Cool. I'm glad that you like it, man. It's crazy how long Canelo has been fighting for how relatively young he still is. He made his pro debut the year I was born. Oh, wow. Yeah. He's been fighting since he was young, right? He had a lot of fights already. He had almost the same amount of fights as Mayweather when him and Mayweather fought. They had almost very similar amounts of fights. So he's been fighting since a very young age, since you could go pro earlier in Mexico. Canelo has more mileage than Ward at 33. Yeah, Canelo at 32 has more mileage than Ward at 33. Yeah, 100%. 100%. He has a lot of fights under his belt, man. He has a lot of fights under his belt. What is this, like 59? This was his 59th win, right? He has over 60-something fights, right? That's that Manny Pacquiao type stuff. That's that Manny Pacquiao type amounts of wins, man. Which also brings into the equation how crazy it was for Julio Cesar Chavez to have so many fights, over 100-something fights, in the era that he did it in, right? Because during the Sugar Ray Robinson era, everybody was doing it, but for him to do it in that era where it was not too far away from the era that we're currently on in respects to the amount of wins that he has, and that's not including amateurs. Yeah, man. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. All right, guys, we've reached the end of the stream. So sorry about that disconnection. I miscalculated thinking that, a free highlight video that was on the internet, on this platform on YouTube, was going to be allowed to be used as fair use. Yeah, I'm probably right, but the law is very weird, so I'm not gonna fight it. I'm not gonna fight that. So we're gonna go ahead and just use images next time. But I hope you guys weren't too bothered by that. And thank you for coming out. Hit the like button as on your way out, guys. Hit the subscribe button on your way out. Thank you so much. We'll be back again, of course, tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern time, Monday through Fridays. We talk boxing. Hit the like. Just like YouTube boxing, 6,007 telling you, hit the like. 63 fights is crazy. Haven't seen those days since Pacquiao and Jones type of numbers by the time he retires. Yes, yes. See you tomorrow. Great episode. Thank you, brother. Good night, bro. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. I appreciate everything. I appreciate everything. Wait, what's Fredo saying? Hold on. What's it? Y'all smoking meth if you think David would beat Canelo. He takes too long to warm up. Too long to warm up. Canelo ain't going for that. Okay. I love interesting back and forth dynamics on how people feel, what people feel would happen versus other people's feelings. But I don't have a prediction just yet for a fight like that. I have to wait until it gets announced. You know, I take my predictions very, very like delicately. I treat them very, very delicately. So we're gonna wait until the fight gets announced and we get closer to the fight. But we're getting closer to a real mega fight that I can't wait. I keep watching highlights. I keep watching videos and little documentaries about these two. But Lomachenko versus Devin Haney, that thing cannot come any sooner. We're almost there. We are almost there. I think it's next week, and we're watching that fight. So I can't wait for that. And I'm sure you guys can't wait for that fight as well. That's going to be so much fun. All right, be safe. Thank you, AK Rivera 84. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you. It was a blast having you guys here. Remember, hit the like, hit the subscribe on your way out. And peace out.